Hey everyone, we just wrapped up the month of November, and obviously there are a few key critical things to consider, especially with the US dollar. So let me just give you a glimpse into what the monthly close is for the dollar index here. So we actually had a huge drop in the month of November. Now, this actually mimics the same thing that happened in November 2022. So this is November 2023. We just had that close yesterday, and this is actually November 2022. Now, in terms of how far the dollar index has actually dropped in comparison to the whole movement in 2022, the drop in November 2022 was about 38.2%. The drop in 2023 was actually much bigger. It is actually at about 50%. So going by what has happened in the past years, the drop in November 2022 is followed by another drop in December, and then another one in January. We actually don't see a recovery until about February. So we're kind of expecting the same thing for the dollar index here. This is on the daily time frame, obviously. We just bounced off that 102.50, 103 levels. So in terms of support, it actually is still intact. We need to have that close below 102.50 before we can actually see any downtrend continuation to happen for the dollar index. That means in the first week of December, which is starting from today, we could expect the dollar index to kind of stabilize for a little bit. Now, this is again reflected on all the other currencies as well. Now, take a look at the euro first, and then I'll bring you back to the Aussie. For the euro, we have actually seen the EURUSD drop down back to 1.0850, 1.09 level. Now, the key point to watch out for here is that there is no daily close above 1.10. So what we have observed this week is actually two liquidity grabs that happened this week on the EURUSD. This can be seen very clearly on the early time frame, where price is actually, you can see the move above 1.10. And then it's followed through by a quick reversal to the downside on the EURUSD. So that gives a little bit of an indication on the EURUSD, at least for Friday, when this is actually going to get published, that there's actually still room to go for the EURUSD to go towards 1.0850. But that would be the lower end of the support area on the EURUSD, which is still going to be in our radar, because if there's no close below 1.0850, the EURUSD could bounce back up. Now, this is again very similar to the Aussie USD. Let's go back to the Aussie USD. This one has actually broken through and cleared off the buy side liquidity at 66 cents. Price is currently very stable at about 66 cents. This is probably reflected on the hourly time frame. You can see that blue level there, which is about 66 cents, and price is currently maintaining a position well above that 66 cents. Now, obviously, if we lose out that support at 66 cents and we transition back below 66 cents on the daily time frame, that gives further thought that price could actually come back to 65 cents for the Aussie USD. Now, considering what we just discussed is that price for the US dollar could actually stabilize in the first week of December, considering that the market would still wait for the NFP number, which is going to get released on the 8th of December. Now, the other observation would actually be on the pound USD, and with the pound USD, you can actually see a very sharp, clear rejection at 1.27. And what's really interesting here with the pound USD, and it's actually, I'm actually going to zoom in a little bit. You can take a look at here on the formation that we have. It is actually an evening star. But what's unique about this evening star is actually, if you take a look at the first day and the second and the third day candle, they're actually about the same size. And also the middle part is actually a doji. So what happened with the pound USD is that we actually have a very clear liquidity grab at 1.27. There's a clear intent to sell the sterling at 1.27. Obviously, a lot of traders in the market has come to that agreement that we are actually looking and staring at a very critical key resistance at 1.27. Therefore, there would be a potential for the pound USD to actually do a little bit of a correction, and that correction could actually trigger a move towards 1.2550. Now, given the current situation, for as long as price is not able to break above 1.27, we are going to assume that every time price gets near 1.27, there could likely be more selling that happens in sterling. And if that selling accumulates, we could actually see the selling being pushed all the way back down to 1.2550 and potentially even lower towards 1.2450. But the point of interest here is that we are actually very close to that resistance. And if market attempts to go back to 1.27 intraday, right now it is actually about 1.2657. If it fails again at 1.27, then it's Q for further selling to happen on sterling. So definitely something to watch out for. I think out of all the currency majors out there, the sterling is actually the one that's really, really important to watch out for, because 1.27 has been rejected 3 times in the past week, and this is currently forming a strong resistance. There's actually a very clear intent that we can actually see in the market there, that a lot of traders are positioning themselves by getting either taking their profits at 1.27 or actually starting to sell at 1.27. And given the current formation that we have on the candles here, what we're looking at here is that we have a rally from 1.2550 break all the way 1.27. The first day we saw profit taking. On the second day we saw profit taking. On the third day, which is Thursday yesterday, which is end of the month, we actually saw an intent to sell in sterling. So definitely something to watch out for. All right, the last thing to talk about is actually the Dow Japanese yen. The Dow Japanese yen bounces off very cleanly off that 147.25. We actually don't have a consistent close below 147 at this point in time. And price has actually just bounced back up above 148 today. It is currently trading above below 148 for today, but at time of recording. But today it actually manages to maintain a position well above 148. So what we're looking at for the Dow Japanese yen is, it's not just the Dow Japanese yen, basically Japanese yen across the board. We could potentially be looking at a little bit of a correction to happen with the Japanese yen, i.e. the Japanese yen could actually weaken for a little bit, therefore potentially pushing up the Dow Japanese yen higher. If it maintains a position above 148, we could potentially see a return back towards 149 and 150 for the Dow Japanese yen. Similar situation with the EURJPY yen. This is currently finding a stronger support at 161. As long as there's no daily close below 161, we could potentially look for Euro yen long. Same thing with the sterling yen. Sterling yen has been bullish and it maintains that bullish formation all along. Right now, we are anticipating a potential return towards 188, 189 for the sterling yen there. But again, the key driver would actually be the Dow Japanese yen. So can the Dow Japanese yen maintain a position above 148? If it's able to maintain a position above 148, then we anticipate a little bit of a correction to happen with the Japanese yen. All right, so that's a wrap for this week and this month. Welcome to December, the last month of 2023. Have a fantastic weekend ahead, and I'll see you Monday.